Hello, welcome to my 3D Music channel. This is part 5 of Sci-Fi Prop video series, and in this tutorial we try to finish the base modeling for the Sci-Fi Prop. We are doing a grenade. To recap everything from the last chapter, we kept on adding details on the top part. Now we're gonna go all the way at the bottom as well as the mid part. So let's get started. I'm gonna open my file now. Where is my, okay, there you go. Okay, let's get started. I just opened my file. It's right here. This is where we left off from the last chapter, and we're going to try to finish in this part or the next part. I tried to give as much as information I can, and we'll go from there. You could see when I hit 3, you can get this. In the last chapter, my file crashed, so I haven't done any other changes to it, but I'm going to do it again so that I could give some more information. If you haven't watched my last chapter, go and watch the last chapter. We almost designed most of the parts, but at the end it kind of crashed on me. So I'm going to do it again for teaching purpose as well as learning as well. So I'm going to go on the top view. It's rather to do one side and duplicate on the other side. So that's why I always work, because it's easier to that way than working on one side, working on two sides together, because it's going to have some kind of like not have the same measurements, because some might be off, some might not be off. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm adding some support loops, and I'm just going to extrude this in. I want to make like a sci-fi bolt-in. So that looks like it, but it kind of like added like a loop here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my merge vertices tool and just snap it here. So that way it doesn't have to go all the way around. So I'm going to delete that pieces. So now if it 3, you could see it's kind of there. So I'm going to duplicate on the other side. Freeze the transformation before you're doing that, so it doesn't have any transformation values. Then you merge it and combine it and merge the vertices. So there you go. So now we have some kind of like details on top of it. I kind of like it. It kind of looks good. And I'm also going to break this part as well. If you see it, when I select it, it's kind of selecting all the way there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another loop there. So the easiest way to do is to bevel. And once I have bevel there, I'm going to go on the top view. So this all what I'm doing is to break the shape and try to have some kind of functionality to it. So this is some kind of like bolt. We're gonna add it here. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna extrude this. Oops. My snap is on, so that's why it's freaking out. And now if I go here, and you could pull this in. So now if I smooth it, we have something like that. So it also pops up like a sci-fi design. So let's see what this does. So this also, it's really good. And let's see, I'm going to do the same technique what I did on the other piece, because I want something like that. It didn't work out, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add an edge like right there and right there. So now we get like a sharper edge on the top. So now this is done. Let's see what else. Let's break this pieces a little bit further. So this one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to my insert edge loop tool. I'm going to I did a equal distance, so it does that, and I'm gonna extrude it out. So now if I smooth it, boom, right there. So I'm going to scale it down. I'm gonna scale it up. So now if I smooth it, you could see it kind of adds a nice detail there. So I'm going to reset my tool so I could add some loops. So there you go. So I get 3, boom. You could also play with height as well if you want, so that will have some variations in the cylinder. So if I had 3, there's a variation between year and year. So now okay, I'm gonna add one more detail here. Right there and right there. So I hit 3 and so there you go, boom. So now I'm kind of happy with the top part. Let's break the surface even further. Like there's a big dip in it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to Control D. You don't have to do Control D. So I'm going to show how to use duplicate special. So I'm going to take a cube. Where's my cube? So it's right inside there. So what I'm going to do is so now I'm going to go on my bottom part. So there is a gap to it. So we get the shadow details as well as the light details. So I want to get both. So I did that there and preset transformation, go here and bevel it so it catches the highlights and do so there you go, boom. So it's done now. So I'm not sure this is gonna work because it might be smaller. So in order to avoid that, so I'm gonna snap my press insert to change the pivot point, then click on snap to grids, then snap the grid on middle of your grid, then go to edit, duplicate special, and reset settings, and I want to duplicate this piece into 60 pieces. To calculate it, so 360 divided by 6 is 60, so we need 6 pieces. So what you have to do is 60 divided by 60 is 6, so we get 6. So we have to rotate every 6 units, and make sure you put instance instead of copy. I'll show in a second why it is. It didn't work, I don't know why. So I'm gonna check it again, because I said number of copies 1. Say 59 because it counts as this as one piece, so say 59 and it duplicates special, so it's gonna give something like this. I'm kind of happy with the shape, but it's not big enough. So that's where the instance comes in to the point. So we could scale it up like that. So now if you see on the top, so we have this lip closer to so everything is closer now. It's kind of added some details on the top. So the other thing what I could do is see the distance between ear and ear, and it's not the same there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to have the same distance across. So if I go on the top view, so you could see. So now it's kind of added some details on the top, so I kind of like it. So what I'm going to do now is, so I'm going to combine everything. I'm happy with my shape, so I have a shortcut for everything. So I did that now. I used the mesh combine. So there you go. So now I could pull it down or pull it up. So I could scale it up or scale it down. It's up to us. So now I kind of like that. So I'm gonna let it go. So yeah, now let's see what we could do with these shapes. And I also want to work on the pieces inside. So I am going to hide my glass material. So I'm just going to duplicate this, get out of the group, and go here and deselect everything. And let's work on this piece. So I want to make this as like a maybe like a chemical. There is some kind of like a chemical liquid inside. So I'm gonna hide that. I want to bring back my to see everything, so I know the proportions, what I'm modeling. So now here I'm gonna add something. I'm gonna reset my insert edge loop tool so that works, and I'm going to delete it here. So from here, what you could do is I'm going to delete this as well. Pull it in. So there you go. So now we have something to work with. I kind of like that, so I'm going to snap it all the way down so we don't see it. I'm also going to add a loop at the top. So if I hit 5 and if I smooth it, there you go. Now I have. So now I'm going to start adding loops. So I'm just adding loops to support my edges. So now we added some kind of details. Let's break it even further. So what I could do is I'm going to smooth this a little bit so I could add details right away. Let's see everything so I know where I'm adding the details. I think we won't even see this, so I'm going to pull this a little bit up. So yeah, so now it works. So we could see from the outer part. So that's my idea behind this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add one more loop here. Insert edge loop tool. So I'm equally splitting this from the top view. So I'm making sure I'm putting my details exactly here on these areas. So I select the face from the top view, so everything is opposite from each other. So make sure I selected that. See, I also selected some other faces, so I'm making sure deselecting it. So now if I hit 5, and what I do is extrude face, and I'm going to turn off my key faces together. So I have just pull this in. So there you go. So now we have some details like that. So now if I smooth it, it's gonna go wonky. I'm not worried about it. Since it's a cylinder shape, I could put some loops in there. So now it's gonna read up. So if I hit 3, so now it's gonna have this, but still there's stretching happening because I don't have the loops there. So once I put it there, it's gonna work fine. What we could also do is we could put some loops in here as well, so that will help. And so I'm pretty sure that I'm going to smooth this mesh. That's why I'm putting the loops and hitting 3 to see how it looks like. Now I'm kind of happy with the shape. It's going to be really tiny because I'm not worried about there was a stretching there, because it's going to be really subtle. Because when we put the glass, we won't even see the inside. So let's add some more details to break this even further. So I'm going to Control D to duplicate this piece, and so delete other codes. So now what we could do is, so I'm adding some more loops, and I'm going to end it here. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to add some shapes in here so I could bolt it in. This is some kind of paneling happening on top of my shape. So if I go in here, you could see it breaks this shape a little bit, and it's gonna go a little bit out. So it also adds some details and shadows in here as well. I'm not gonna smooth this. Let's smooth it as well. So I'm gonna add some more loops. When we smooth it, we are getting all the details. That's more important. So now if I hit 3, so this is what we're gonna have. But the only problem in doing this is, I'll tell you what happens. So as soon as I hit 3, you see it's going to have this issues. The other way to work around is smooth once, then you could go and select the faces. So now what you could do is hit 3. So now since we smoothed it, this is the other way to work around it, but this is kind of like not a counterintuitive way to do this. See, I kind of fixed that part. It kind of worked, but I don't want that. So the easiest way to do this is, I'll show you. So I'm going to smooth this again. So I'm happy with my shape, so that's it, it's done. So Control D, same technique, select everything and delete other faces. And now what you could do is you could go here and delete the faces you want. So I'm gonna go here, delete this face as well, and go here. So now we have something here to work on. So I'm gonna extrude this out, so I don't have to add loops or anything. So I'm gonna leave with the sharp edges. But if you want to add some bevel on it, you could do it. That will work for sure. So if you add a bevel, that will work in here, and I can add some segments if you want. So that will pick some light. So pull this in a little bit up. Boom, there you go. So I'm gonna merge it. So now we did this piece, so I'm gonna go on my top view. So you could also hold on X to snap it on the grid. For some reason in my Maya it doesn't work, so the shortcut for doing this is so I'm using duplicate special again. I'm making sure it's in copy, so if I apply, so it's gonna give that to me. So I'm going to put everything in a group. I'm gonna say chemical cylinders. So I'm gonna put in the group. It's done, and I'm gonna bring my glass. So if you see from the outside, it kind of looks cool, but if you see, we're seeing all the way at the bottom, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to duplicate the piece at the bottom. I'm bringing it all the way up. I'm going to go here. So what I'm doing is I extracted a face and I deleted other faces. So I'm going to add a loop there, a loop here. So when I smooth it, it's there. So we don't have to see it. So still we see it. You see it's kind of like not going all the way down. So let's have it here maybe. Yeah, let's have it there. Yeah, slightly above there. And I'm going to pull everything down so we don't have to see this again. Boom, right there. So we could also some more other details as well, because it kind of looks really flat. So I'm going to duplicate my cylinder again and select everything. To see it's right there. Now what I could do is I could add some details in to do that. So it kind of looks like it holds it. So that's the idea behind it. So I'm gonna bevel. Boom, right there. So this goes all the way down. To make it even interesting, you could also add some kind of stuff like that and just bevel it. So one thing I noticed, it kind of went in, so I'm going to check. Yeah, there you go. So snap it there, snap it there. There's something happened, so I'm going to delete everything and start over. So it's easier that way to do. So there you go, now it worked. So I'm going to add a bevel there. It's like super subtle. Boom, right there. We won't even see it, but if you want, you can make it. You could play with the shape, so that works. I kind of like it. So you could also add some more details on it, but since it's inside, I'm not worried about it. Now what you could do is, I want to make sure this is perfect. So now when we see from here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to freeze the transformations, go on my top view, hit insert and snap it to the grid in the middle, and Control Shift D. Since we gonna duplicate the exact same way, I used the shortcut called Control Shift D. It's called what it's called? It's called duplicate special. So if you could see here, it's called Control Shift D. So it's a default Maya shortcut, so you guys can use it. It comes in handy. So I'm gonna put a little bit. There you go. Where's the glass? I'll bring back the glass. Glass is here. So now let's work on this piece. Let's finish this piece. Like, you know, it's kind of bothering me with the stretches and stuff. In order to work on this piece, what you could do is create a cylinder, kind of like matching close to it. You don't have to be exactly the same. Let's say subdivision is 144. So we don't have to worry about stretching or anything. So we're going to model it in a iPolygon way. So right there. Actually, you know what? I'm going to model like that, so it's easier where it ends. Now I'm going to add a loop right there. So I snapped the bottom part to this part, so it snaps there. So I'm going to do the same thing on the top as well. So this is where it starts. Let's see, where's the glass? So this is the glass and this is the outer part. So I'm going to okay, a little bit outside. There you go. So now I have it exactly where I want. Since I scale it down, I have to scale it up. So now it's exactly where I want. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a loop here. So this is where we split it. So I'm going to go on the top view. The same concept. We work from one side and we duplicate it around. So that's the easiest way to do it. Shift I to isolate and delete everything, whatever you don't need. From here, So now on the top here, what I'm going to do is so I'm going to put on the third vertices right there, then I'm going to delete all my pieces again. So this kind of worked. If you see, everything is quad now except this one, but I'm not worried about it. If you want, you could add a loop. I'm not going to smooth this mesh, so I'm not worried about it. So what I can do is, but if you are doing for production and if you think it's going to cause a problem, you could add an edge loop to make everything into quads. I'm going to show a technique how to do that, so you guys know if you guys encounter it. So there you go. So you go here. So now you could go and delete this. No, that's a quad. Now it made a quad. Now what you could do is you could move a little bit like that. So I'm going to do that. So everything is quad now. So now we don't have to worry about anything. So if I hit 3 even, that's gonna help us as well. So even you can make this quad as well, because how you could do this is just add a loop at the end and just do this. So I'm gonna do it here. So I'm gonna delete this stuff. So there you go. So now it's kind of like a I don't know what I was trying to do there. Okay, anyway, now we are in subdivisions. I'm not worried about it. So if I smooth it, it's going to a smoother mesh. So same thing, Control D, mirror on the other side, -1. So there you go. So now we have it. So it kind of worked. You could add loops at the end once we have thickness to it. So there you go. Now it kind of worked. Like now it looks smoother and everything. So now I'm gonna put a pong so you guys can see it. There you go. There is no stretches or anything. So let's make this happen. Where's that mesh? This is the mesh. So I'm gonna top view. I'm going to mirror on the other side. Control D, mirror on X, freeze the transformation, combine and merge it, and freeze delete the history. So there you go. So it kind of popped out. So if I hit 3, boom, right there. It worked. Now we have to make it sharper hard edges. I think we kind of made a mistake because it works like this. I'm gonna show you what happened there. Because we have to extrude till this one, then we're gonna extrude from this part. So I'm going to go in. Okay, so what I'm going to do, same thing. Let's focus on one side and go from there. We kind of have a dent from here, so what I'm doing, I'm selecting one face and I'm holding the shift and double clicking on it. So this is going to select all the faces. From ear to ear, I'm doing the same thing. From ear to ear, I'm doing the same thing. So extrude it out. Yeah, that worked. So that's what we had. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to world axis and change that to 3. It's going to be nicer and smoother. To make it prominent, you could also add loop here as well. That will, so right here and right here. See, in the inside it's kind of like not quads, that's why it's freaking out. But what we could do is, so I'm going to delete this. So I'm going to make this in a quad in a second. Anyway, it's inside, so we are adding the triangle inside, so I'm not worried about it. So here I could do the same thing. It's from here, so I'm deselecting everything what I want and I'm deleting the select the 3, boom, right there. It looks smoother, so that's what I wanted. See, it's kind of extra here as well, so I'm going to have to delete this. So I'm going to check my time. If it's 20 minutes, I'm going to do another part. It's exactly 30 minutes, guys, so I went beyond it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show how to finish this part in the next chapter. It's going to be really easy, just like adding loops everywhere to make this sharper. That's it, so it's going to be done. So even if in here, see here, it's kind of getting into the shape, so that's what I wanted. So if I had 3, it's nice and smoother. So the only, we have to add a hedge on the top and we are good to go. So I'm gonna finish this piece, make it sharper, then I'm gonna call today, and we're gonna do a chapter in the next next part. So it's already looking sharp and sleek. Let's make it even slicker. So that's it, guys. That's it for today, and I'll see you in the next chapter. And if you really like this tutorial, please like, subscribe, and comment below. If you have any question regarding this tutorial, please write me at 3damuser@gmail.com. To recap everything, we added some details on the top, and you guys also learned how to use duplicate special, and you also learned how to use instance as well. I will see you in the next one. Until then, you guys have a great day. Have a good one.